In this video, we're going to talk about percent notation, which is section 6.1. So the first thing you need to remember is that the word percent means per 100. So when you see something like n%, it actually means n per 100. And per in mathematics we know means divide. So n% would be n divided by 100. So there are three different ways we can express percent notation. And the first one is as a ratio. Okay, so n% is the ratio of n to 100, which we of course can write as a fraction, n over 100. So n to 100 or n over 100. Fraction notation, we take n%, which we go ahead and take our n and we multiply by 1 over 100. And then decimal notation means we take our n and we multiply by 0.01, which is 1/100th. Same as here, but this is the decimal notation. Okay, so for each of these examples, we're going to look at all three of these notations. Okay, so 62% as a ratio, we would say 62, that's going to be our n, so 62% would be 62, not 65. Look at that. Get my numbers mixed up from the get-go. 62 over 100. Okay. And then for our fraction notation, we would take it as 62 times, and we don't often use that x for multiplication, but you get the idea, times 1 over 100. And if you simplified that, you'd get 62 over 100. And then decimal notation, I would take 62 and then I would multiply that by 0.01, which of course gives me 0.62. Okay, and this one, of course, we know this equals the same as 62 over 100. Let's look at 13.7%. Well, I would have that as 13.7 divided by 100, which we don't like to leave a decimal inside of our fraction, so we're going to go ahead and multiply the top and the bottom by 10 to get rid of that. So that gives me 137 over 1,000. Okay. Similarly, I take 13.7 times 1 over 100. Again, this would give me 13.7 over 100, which we would then convert to 137 over 1,000. And if I take 13.7 and I multiply by 0.01, I'm going to come up with 0.137. Okay. So now we're going to talk about being able to convert between percent notation and decimal notation, back and forth. Okay. And it's just a process of either multiplying by 1/100th, which is 0.01, or multiplying by 100, depending on whether we're going from a percent to a decimal or from a decimal to a percent. Okay, and so converting n% to a decimal, just move the decimal places 2 places to the left. And if you're starting with a decimal going to a percent, we just move 2 decimal places to the right. Okay. So 47%, we're going from percent to a decimal, so we're going to move it 2 places to the left. Where is the decimal to begin with? Well, when it's not showing, it's at the end. We move it 2 places to the left, and now I have 0.47. So as a decimal, 47% is the same as 0.47. Similarly, 94.6%, the decimal is here, so I'm going to move it 2 places to the left. And I get 0.946. Don't lose any of those numbers. Those are important to keep them. Okay. Now let's take a look at these two. 0.73%. Again, I'm moving it 2 places to the left, even though it already is there. Oops. Now when I don't have another one, we're going to have to add in a 0 here. Okay, so 1, 2 places. So now I have 0.0073. Okay, notice that this started at 0.73%. That's less than 1%. So now it's even smaller when we write it as a decimal. And our last one, 19.75%. I'm going to go ahead and rewrite this as 19.75%. And now we're going to move our decimal place 1, 2 to the left, so I have 0.1975. Okay? Now we're going to look at moving our decimal notation to percent notation, and if we go back and remind ourselves, remember we do that by moving our decimal places 2 places to the right, which is the same as multiplying by 100. Okay, so let's take a look at that. Here's my decimal, 0.61. As a percent, we're going to move it 2 places to the right, so this gives us 61%. Similarly, 0.467, I move it 2 places to the right, and I get 46.7%. Okay. 0.03, if I move this 2 places to the right, which I'm multiplying by 100, that gives me 3%. My percent signs sometimes look a little off, but you get the idea. And 1.14, if I move this one 2 places to the right, that's going to give me 114%. Okay? So that's section 6.1, and that's how we work with percent notation. I will see you in the next video.